Hello, everybody. The Chattering Magpie here. Happy Wednesday. It's time for more Count of Monte Cristo. With me, of course, is the gang. Hello, gang. How are you doing today?
Acceptably.
They're all so excited. They have to speak at once. Okay, let's go in order. I have Yay, and then Patrick, and then Teal.
Pretty good.
Sweet.
I was gonna say positively mischievous.
That's you always, of course. All of you guys.
What?
In your own ways. Surprise me. Teal, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm still sans computer, but even wild horses can drag me away from this.
I'm so glad that you're here with us. Should we do a GoFundMe for your computer? Like,
No, that's okay.
Should I literally set up a goal in my anime live and be like, let's buy Teal a computer? You know, YouTube tells me like you should do these things and these things and all of these like things. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm a very like slow to adapt kind of person. I consider myself like a reptilian, like a bird, you know, cold-blooded. Like, if I don't have to do it, I won't do it. So, but I will do the goals themed if it's necessary. Like they say, like put a goal, put what it's for, and then watch the money come in. I was like, no, that's no. But
I've noticed from a lot of creators that I listen to on YouTube, most of them say when YouTube tells you to do this to be more successful, they do the opposite and they actually do better.
I thought you were gonna say that they actually like do better when YouTube tells them to do things. You know, there are some things that YouTube likes when creators do. I don't know it, but if you chase the algorithm, it's going to lead to heartbreak because a lot of people think that the algorithm is like a living, breathing, sentient thing that actively works against them. And I am not of that position. I just think do videos that you like to do, that you believe in, and if you get one viewer or a million viewers, that's great. But at least you had fun making it, you had fun preparing for it, and it's something that you would want to watch yourself. So that's my philosophy, of course.
For the most part, the people that I watch on YouTube, including the Magpie, please like and subscribe, by the way. The people that I watch on YouTube, if they are genuine, if they are just themselves, then they tend to do better.
Hooray for that. And so I think it's really cool when you find your niche and your community, so that I've been lucky enough for that. I have here these fine folks that are so willing and excited. They were here. Did you say yay 2 hours? You've been in this? Yes.
Yep.
2 hours. Okay.
I got home early because I went into work early, so I just set it up and then played games in the background.
Oh, lucky you, lucky you. That's good. I wish I could hang out more with you guys. Lately, the economy has not been good, so I have to, you know, take more gigs and do more hours at my other job. So, man, but yeah.
Yay, money crunch.
Yeah. Especially when we get closer to the holidays, it's interesting. But yeah, I have been enjoying though, like getting together on Sundays. We've been watching The Lord of the Rings, the trilogy. Man, those things are long. They're long. But you know what?
Oh yeah, I mean, the extended edition, they get into a lot of the stuff that people missed in theaters.
I don't even know which is the extended edition, and I'm not gonna watch the regular edition to find out. I'm enjoying them, but I don't think I've been made quite the sense of why people are so into it has been yet. I've gotten it yet. I'm not sure if I'll ever get why, but I am still enjoying the movies, and I mostly enjoy seeing you guys keep talking about it and stuff like that, as with avoiding spoilers, which I appreciate.
Yes.
Thanks for that.
I'm not as well versed as some of our members, like Butterfly, but
oh yeah, Butterfly's so into it. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she's into it, but yeah, I enjoy the lore that Tolkien wrote into his story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I may not be a fan of his writing style, which is why I have a hard time getting to his books, but he is a very prolific world builder.
Yeah, I believe he's like the godfather of all fantasy, I imagine, for the most part. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I get
pretty
it.
much.
I get it. So yeah, I am enjoying watching the things. On top of that, on my own, as much as I've been able to, I've been watching 10 series of anime. Like this season, I thought it wasn't going to be as packed as last. You guys, I'm watching more anime this season. I know. I'm watching more anime this season than I watched last season, which is incredible to me because I thought I was just gonna be watching 3, 4 maximum. No, I'm watching 10. And just last night I was like, I went to sleep and I was like, wait a minute, I haven't finished watching these other ones. So I literally like I had to like take out my iPad and I was in bed and I put on my headphones. I was just watching, 3 episodes, and by the end I was like, okay, time to go to bed. I'm like, who does this? I do it. Okay, I'm doing this to myself. Why? Because I chose to do a little weekly talk, and actually it's fun to talk about it with you guys. So all that to say, if you want to hang out with us, there's more about that. We are watching anime and movies on Sundays. We're doing reads. We're doing anime recaps, kind of reviews, podcast-ish things on. I don't even think it's a podcast. Just a chit chat. Just a chit chat, because podcast is more like ooh, and chit chat's more like let's relax, right? So yeah, we're doing the things, you guys. So I'm just happy that you guys make it to one or both or all of them. Thank you for hanging out with me, gang. I really truly enjoy it. Now, without further ado, I want to say hello to Early Gang, and the only gang on YouTube apparently right now is Yay. Yay! Here you go. Have a heart for all of those comments, those slew of comments. Yay! All of these hearts are for you. There you go. Thank you, buddy.
Is it time for the recap?
Mm-hmm. What was that, Yay?
I walk a lonely road. The only road I've ever known.
Indeed, you do.
I walk a lonely road.
Oh, that's where it's
and
from.
Now you're demonetized.
All right, yeah, that sounds quite a lot like the original. All right, yay. We're so ready. We're waiting with bated breath for your summary. Please take it away.
Alrighty. Last time, on the Count of Monte Cristo. Over 3 months, Pierre Morrel called upon all his contacts and resources, only to come away short. Through it all, he became distant from his family, to the worry of everyone. Eventually, the day of reckoning arrived, and Monsieur Morrel resolved to do the unthinkable to preserve his family honor. On the very same morning, his daughter, Julie, received the long-awaited letter from Sinbad and resolved to listen to its directions despite the danger. As Monsieur Morrel waited for the moment of his demise, this decision bared fruit, for Julie returned with a large diamond, large enough to entirely pay off his debts. At the same moment, the long-sunk Pharaon arrived in port, crewed by its original crew like a miracle. Relief and joy overtook the family and the mysterious Sinbad, who stood nearby and watched. However, as Sinbad left, he made an unsettling proclamation to bid farewell to kindness, humanity, and gratitude, for he meant to become an instrument of vengeance. What could Sinbad mean by this? Let us begin to see today on The Count of Monte Cristo.
Ooh, thank you. Bravo, bravo. Thank you, Ye, for that summary. I don't think we need to clear anything up. I think we're on the same page. If you have no idea then what we're talking about, go back to the very first session. It's a good book. You'll enjoy it.
Also, Sinbad is definitely not Dante's. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He is not Dante's. He is Sinbad the Sailor. Come on. So today reading are the following people.
They don't even sound the same.
Yeah. Today, chapter 31. Today we're gonna read the following people are it. So France, oh gosh, Depinay. France Depinay. Okay, that's how it's gonna be said. France Depinay is gonna be read by Teal. Gaetano, the captain, will be Yay 82. Gaetano. The Sentinel is Magpie. Me. Sinbad, who is definitely not Edmond Dantes, is Patrick. Ali is going to be read by Yay 82. And Sailor is going to be read by Sailor. What is this? Who's Sailor? Who's the Sailor?
I did it again! Alright.
Well,
it's read by Teal.
Teal is going to be the Sailor. And again, our beloved Teal is also the highlighter MVP. Thank you, Teal, for helping us out with this, and I don't know, just appreciating that you do all that and join in despite your computer being broken. Yeah, you're a champ.
Actually, I think that's an error. I think Sailor is actually Patrick. That's right.
Okay.
I was kind of curious about that because
I'm off my game today.
I mean, I was gonna let Teal read it. I was just like, I thought that was me.
Yeah, I can talk to myself. I do it all the time.
Should we be worried, Teal? I thought you were the the most stable of all of us here. Like these others, they can.
Good, I fooled them all.
If you need some therapy, I can recommend Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, it will help you out of your mental health crisis.
Wow!
Wow! Yes. Thank you. You see, that's what happens when you drink Dr. Pepper. You become an intellectual. So good on you, Yay! All right. Everybody
I
ready?
saw it and I went for it.
You did good. I didn't even see that coming. All right, let's get started with the read. Let's see. Let me just sort myself on my end. Yay! I hope it doesn't have a lot of narration. By the way, thank you guys for joining me after like last week. I had to cancel because my throat was hurting. I'm better now. So yeah, yay!
Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. All right.
It is the season.
Chapter 31. Italy. Sinbad the Sailor. Toward the beginning of the year 1832, two young men belonging to the First Society of Paris, the Viscount Albert de Morcerf and the Baron Franz de Pinay, were at Florence. They had agreed to see the carnival at Rome that year, and that Franz, who for the first 3 or 4 years had inhabited Italy, should act as cicerone to Albert. As it is no considerable affair to spend the carnival at Rome, especially when you have no great desire to sleep on the Piazza del Popolo or the Campo Bacchino, they wrote to Signor Pastrini, the proprietor of the Hotel de Londres, Piazza di Spagna, to reserve comfortable apartments for them. Signor Pastrini replied that he had only 2 rooms and a parlor on the 3rd floor, which he offered at the low charge of a louis per diem. They accepted his offer, but wishing to make the best use of the time that was left, Albert started for Naples. As for Franz, he remained at Florence, and after having passed a few days in exploring the paradise of the Cascine and spending 2 or 3 evenings at the houses of the Florentine nobility, he took a fancy into his head, having already visited Corsica, the cradle of Bonaparte, to visit Elva, the waiting place of Napoleon. One evening he cast off the painter of a sailboat from the iron ring that secured it to the dock at Leghorn, wrapped himself in his coat, and lay down, and said to the crew,
"To the island of Elba."
The boat shot out of the harbor like a bird, and the next morning Franz disembarked at Porto Ferrajo. He traversed the island, and after having followed the traces which the footsteps of the giant have left, and re-embarked for Marciana. 2 hours after he again landed at Pianosa, where he was assured that red partridges abounded. The sport was bad. Franz only succeeded in killing a few partridges, and like every unsuccessful sportsman, he returned to the boat very much out of temper.
If your excellency choose, you might have capital sport.
Where?
Do you see that island?
Continued the captain, pointing to the conical pile rising from the indigo sea.
Well, what is this island?
'Tis the island of Monte Cristo.
But I have no permission to shoot over this island.
Your excellency does not require a permit, for the island is uninhabited.
Ah, indeed. A desert island in the midst of the Mediterranean must be a curiosity.
It is very natural. The island is a mass of rocks and does not contain an acre of land capable of cultivation.
To whom does this island belong?
To Tuscany.
What game shall I find there?
Thousands of wild goats.
Who live upon the stones, I suppose.
No, but by browsing the shrubs and trees that grow out of the crevices of the rocks.
Where can I sleep?
On shore in the grottos, or on board in your cloak. Besides, if your excellency pleases, we can leave as soon as you like. We can sail as well by night as by day, and if the wind drops, we can use our oars.
As Franz had sufficient time, and his apartments at Rome were not yet available, he accepted the proposition. Upon his answer in the affirmative, the sailors exchanged a few words altogether in a low tone.
Well, what now? Is there any difficulty in the way?
No, but we must warn your excellency that the island is an infected port.
What do you mean?
Monte Cristo, although uninhabited, yet serves occasionally as a refuge for the smugglers and pirates who come from Corsica, Sardinia, and Africa, and if it becomes known that we have been there, we shall have to perform quarantine for 6 days on our return to Leghorn.
The deuce? That puts a different face on the matter. 6 days? Why, that's as long as the Almighty took to make the world. Too long a wait. Too long.
But who will say your excellency has been to Monte Cristo?
Oh, I shall not.
Nor I, nor I, nor I.
Of course, the
Then
sailors.
steer for Monte... Oh, I'm sorry. Then steer for Monte Cristo.
The captain gave his orders, the helm was put up, and the boat was soon sailing in the direction of the island. Franz waited until all was in order, and when the sail was filled and the 4 sailors had taken their places, 3 forward and 1 at the helm, he resumed the conversation.
Gaetano, you tell me Monte Cristo serves as a refuge for pirates, who are, it seems to me, a very different kind of game from the goats.
Yes, your excellency, and it is true.
I knew there were smugglers, but I thought that since the capture of Algiers and the destruction of the Regency, pirates existed only in the romances of Cooper and Captain Marryat.
Your excellency is mistaken. There are pirates, like the bandits who were believed to have been exterminated by Pope Leo
12.
the 12th, and who yet every day rob travelers at the gates of Rome. Has not your excellency heard that the French charge d'Affres was robbed 6 months ago within 500 paces of Veltri?
Oh, yes, I heard that.
Well then, if, like us, your Excellency lived in Leghorn, you would hear from time to time that a little merchant vessel, or an English yacht that was expected at Batista, at Porferraro, or at Civitavecchia, has not arrived. No one knows what has become of it, but doubtless it was struck on the rocks and foundered. Now, this rock it has met has been a long and narrow boat manned by 6 or 8 men who have surprised and plundered it some dark and stormy night near some desert and gloomy island as bandits plunder a carriage in the recesses of a forest.
But
asked Franz, who lay wrapped in his cloak at the bottom of the boat.
why do not those who have been plundered complain to the French, Sardinian, or Tuscan governments?
Why?
Yes, why?
Because, in the first place, they transfer from the vessel to their own boat whatever they think worth taking. Then they bind the crew hand and foot. They attach it to everyone's neck a 24-pound ball. A large hole is chopped in the vessel's bottom, and then they leave her. At the end of 10 minutes, the vessel begins to roll heavily and settle down. First one gun will go under, and then the other. Then they lift and sink again, and both go under at once. All at once there's a noise like a cannon. That's the air blowing up the deck. Soon the water rushes in out of the scupper holes like a whale spouting. The vessel gives a last groan, spins round, and disappears, forming a vast whirlpool in the ocean. And then all is over, so that in 5 minutes nothing but the eye of God can see the vessel, where she lies at the bottom of the sea. Do you understand now? Why no complaints are made to the government and why the vessel never reaches port?
It is probable that if Gaetano had related this previous to proposing the expedition, Franz would have hesitated. But now that they had started, he thought it would be cowardly to draw back. He was one of those men who do not rashly court danger, but if danger presents itself, combat it with the most unalterable coolness. Calm and resolute, he treated any peril as he would an adversary in duel. Calculated its probable method of approach, retreated, if at all, as a point of strategy, and not from cowardice, was quick to see an opening for attack, and won victory at a single thrust.
Ah, I have traveled through Sicily and Calabria. I have sailed 2 months in the archipelago, and yet I never even saw the shadow of a bandit or a pirate.
I did not tell your Excellency to deter you from this project. But you questioned me, and I have answered. That's all.
Yes, and your conversation is most interesting. And as I wish to enjoy it as long as possible, steer for Monte Cristo.
The wind blew strongly. The boat made 6 or 7 knots an hour, and they were rapidly reaching the end of their voyage. As they drew near, the island seemed to lift from the sea, and the air was so clear that they could already distinguish the rocks heaped on one another, like cannonballs in an arsenal, with green bushes and trees growing in the crevices. As for the sailors, although they appeared perfectly tranquil, yet it was evident that they were on the alert, and that they carefully watched the glassy surface over which they were sailing, and on which a few fishing boats, with their white sails, were alone visible. They were within 15 miles of Monte Cristo when the sun began to set behind Corsica, whose mountains appeared against the sky, showing their rugged peaks in bold relief. This mass of rock, like the giant Adamastor, rose dead ahead, a formidable barrier, and intercepting the light that gilded its massive peaks, so that the voyagers were in shadow. Little by little the shadow rose higher and seemed to drive before it the last rays of the expiring day. And at last the reflection rested on the summit of the mountain, where it paused an instant, like the fiery crest of a volcano. Then gloom gradually covered the summit, as they had covered the base, and the island now only appeared to be a grey mountain that grew continually darker. Half an hour after, the night was quite dark. Fortunately, the mariners were used to these latitudes and knew every rock in the Tuscan archipelago. For, in the midst of this obscurity, France was not without uneasiness. Corsica had long since disappeared, and Monte Cristo itself was invisible. But the sailors seemed like the lynx to see in the dark, and the pilot who steered did not evince the slightest hesitation. An hour had passed since the sun had set, when Franz fancied he saw, at a quarter of a mile to the left, a dark mass. But he could not precisely make out what it was, and fearing to excite the mirth of the sailors by mistaking a floating cloud for land, he remained silent. Suddenly, a great light appeared on the strand. Land might resemble a cloud, but fire was not a meteor. But the fire was not a meteor.
What is this light?
Hush, it is a fire.
But you told me this island was uninhabited?
I said there were no fixed habitations on it, but I said also it served sometimes as a harbor for smugglers.
And for pirates?
And for pirates. It is for that reason I have given orders to pass the island, for, as you see, the fire is behind us.
But this fire, it seems to me rather reassuring than otherwise. Men who did not wish to be seen would not light a fire.
Oh, that goes for nothing. If you can guess the position of the island in the darkness, you will see that the fire cannot be seen from the side or from Pansino, but only from the sea.
You think, then, this fire indicates the presence of unpleasant neighbors?
That is what we must find out,
returned Gaetano, fixing his eyes on his terrestrial star.
How can you find out?
You shall see.
Gaetano consulted with his companions, and after 5 minutes' discussion, a maneuver was executed which caused the vessel to tack about. They returned the way they had come, and in a few minutes the fire disappeared, hidden by an elevation of the land. The pilot again changed the course of the boat, which rapidly approached the island, and was soon within 50 paces of it. Gaetano lowered the sail, and the boat came to rest. All this was done in silence, and from the moment that their course was changed, not a word was spoken. Gaetano, who had proposed the expedition, had taken all the responsibility on himself. The 4 sailors fixed their eyes on him while they got out their oars and held themselves in readiness to row away, which, thanks to the darkness, would not be difficult. As for Franz, he examined his arms with the utmost coolness. He had 2 double-barreled guns and a rifle. He loaded them, looked at the priming, and waited quietly. During this time, the captain had thrown off his vest and shirt and secured his trousers round his waist. His feet were naked, so he had no shoes and stockings to take off. After these preparations, he placed his finger on his lips, and lowering himself noiselessly into the sea, swam toward the shore with such precaution that it was impossible to hear the slightest sound. He could only be traced by the phosphorescent light in his wake. The track soon disappeared. It was evident that he had touched the shore. Everyone on board remained motionless for half an hour, when the same luminous track was again observed, and the swimmer was soon on board.
Well?
Exclaimed Franz and the sailors in unison.
They are Spanish smugglers. They have with them 2 Corsican bandits.
And what are these Corsican bandits doing here with Spanish smugglers?
Alas, we ought always to help one another. Very often the bandits are hard-pressed by gendarmes or carabiners. Well, they see a vessel and good fellows like us on board. They come and demand hospitality from us. You cannot refuse help to a poor hunted devil. We receive them. And for greater security we stand out to sea. This costs us nothing and saves the life, or at least the liberty, of a fellow creature, who, on the first occasion, returns the service by pointing out some safe spot where we can land our goods without interruption.
Ah, then you are a smuggler occasionally, Gaetano.
Your Excellency, we must live somehow.
returned the other, smiling impenetrably.
Then you know the men who are now in Monte Cristo?
Oh, yes, we sailors are like Freemasons. We recognize each other by signs.
And do you think we have nothing to fear if we land?
Nothing at all. Smugglers are not thieves.
But these two Corsican bandits.
It is not their fault that they are bandits, but that of the authorities,
How so?
because they are pursued for having made a stiff, as if it was not in a Corsican nature to avenge himself.
What do you mean by having made a stiff? Having assassinated a man?
I mean that they have killed an enemy, which is a very different thing.
Well, let us demand hospitality of these smugglers and bandits. Do you think they will grant it?
Without doubt.
How many are they?
4, and the 2 bandits make 6.
Just our number, so that if they prove troublesome, we shall be able to hold them in check. So, for the last time, steer to Monte Cristo.
Yes, but your Excellency will permit us to take all due precautions.
By all means, be as wise as Nestor and as prudent as Ulysses. I do more than permit, I exhort you.
Silence, then.
Everyone obeyed. For a man who, like Franz, viewed his position in its true light, it was a great one. He was alone in the darkness with sailors whom he did not know and who had no reason to be devoted to him, who knew that he had several thousand francs in his belt, and who had often examined his weapons, which were very beautiful, if not with envy, at least with curiosity. On the other hand, he was about to land, without any other escort than these men, on an island which had indeed a very religious name, but which did not seem to Franz likely to afford him much hospitality, thanks to the smugglers and bandits. The history of these scuttled vessels, which had appeared improbable during the day, seemed very probable at night. Placed as he was between 2 possible sources of danger, he kept his eye on the crew, his gun on his hand. The sailors had again hoisted sail, and the vessel was once more cleaving the waves. Through the darkness, Franz, whose eyes were now more accustomed to it, could see the looming shore along which the boat was sailing. And then, as they rounded a rocky point, he saw the fire more brilliant than ever, and about it 5 or 6 persons seated. The blaze illumined the sea for 100 paces round. Gaetano skirted the light, carefully keeping the boat in shadow. Then, when they were opposite the fire, he steered to the center of the circle, singing a fishing song, of which his companions sung the chorus. At first the words of the song the men seated around the fire arose and approached the landing place, their eyes fixed on the boat, evidently seeking to know who the newcomers were and what their intentions. They soon appeared satisfied and returned, with the exception of one who remained at the shore, to their fire, at which the carcass of a goat was roasting. When the boat was within 20 paces of the shore, the man on the beach who carried a carbine presented arms after the manner of a sentinel, and cried, "Who comes there?" in Sardinian. Franz coolly cocked both barrels. Gaetano then exchanged a few words with this man which the traveler did not understand, but which evidently concerned him.
Will your Excellency give your name, or remain incognito?
My name must rest unknown. Merely say I am a Frenchman traveling for pleasure.
As soon as Gaetano had submitted his answer, the sentinel gave an order to one of the men seated around the fire, who rose and disappeared among the rocks. Not a word was spoken. Everyone seemed occupied. France, with his disembarkment. Hold on a sec. If you're not reading, please mute yourself. France, where was I? Okay. Not a word was spoken. Everyone seemed occupied. France with his disembarkment, the sailors with their sails, the smugglers with their goat. But in the midst of all this carelessness, it was evident that they mutually observed each other. The man who had disappeared returned suddenly to the opposite side, that which we had left. He made a sign with his head to the sentinel, who, turning to the boat's head, "Scamodi!" The Italian "Scamodi" is untranslatable. It means at once, "Come, enter, you're welcome. Make yourself at home. You are the master." It is like that Turkish phrase of Molière's that so astonished the bourgeois gentleman by the number of things implied in its utterance. The sailors did not wait for a long invitation. 4 strokes of the oar brought them to land. Gaetano sprang to the shore, exchanged a few words with the sentinel. Then his comrades disembarked, and lastly came Franz. One of his guns was swung over his shoulder, Gaetano had the other, and a sailor held his rifle. His dress, half artist, half dandy, did not excite any suspicion, and consequently no disquietude. The boat was moored to the shore, and they advanced a few paces to find a comfortable bivouac. But, doubtless, the spot they chose did not suit the smuggler, who filled the post of sentinel, for he cried out, "Not that way, if you please!" Gaetano faltered an excuse and advanced to the opposite side, while 2 sailors kindled torches at the fire to light them on their way. They advanced about 30 paces, and then stopped at small esplanade surrounding with rocks, in which seats had been cut, not unlike sentry boxes. Around in the crevices of the rocks grew a few dwarf oaks and thick bushes and myrtles. Franz lowered a torch and saw by the mass of cinders that had accumulated that he was not the first to discover this retreat, which was doubtless one of the halting places of the wandering visitors of Monte Cristo. As for his suspicions, once on terra firma, once that he had seen the indifferent, if not friendly, appearance of his hosts, his anxiety had quite disappeared, or rather, at the sight of the goat, had turned to appetite. He mentioned this to Gaetano, who replied that nothing could be more easy than to prepare a supper when they had in their boat bread, wine, half a dozen partridges, and a good fire to roast them by.
Besides, if the smell of them roast meat tempts you, I will go and offer them 2 of our birds for a slice.
You are a born diplomat. Go and try.
Meanwhile, the sailors had collected dried sticks and branches with which they made a fire. Franz waited impatiently, inhaling the aroma of the roasted meat, when the captain returned with a mysterious air.
Well, anything new? Do they refuse?
On the contrary, the chef, who was told you were a young Frenchman, invites you to sup with him.
Well, this chief is very polite. I see no objection, the more so as I bring my share of the supper.
Oh, it is not that. He has plenty and to spare for supper, but he makes one condition, and a rather peculiar one, before he will receive you at his house.
His house? Has he built one here, then?
No, but he has a very comfortable one all the same, so they say.
You know this chief, then?
I have heard talk of him.
Favorably or otherwise?
Both.
The deuce! And what is this condition?
That you are blindfolded, and do not take off the bandage until he bids himself.
Franz looked at Gaetano to see if possible what he thought of this proposal.
Ah, I know this is a serious matter.
What should you do in my place?
I, who have nothing to lose, I should go.
You would accept.
Yes, were it only out of curiosity.
There is something very peculiar about this chief, then.
Listen, I
So
do not know if what they say is true.
he stopped to see if anyone was near.
What do they say?
That this chief inhabits a cavern to which the Petit Palace is nothing.
What nonsense.
It is no nonsense. It is quite true. Kama, the pilot of the of the Saint Ferdinand, went in once, and he came back amazed, vowing that such treasures were only to be heard of in fairy tales.
You know that with such stories you make me think of Ali Baba's enchanted cavern.
I tell you what I have been told.
Then you advise me to accept.
Oh, I don't say that. Your Excellency will do as you please. I should be sorry to advise you in this matter.
Franz pondered the matter for a few moments, concluded that a man so rich could not have any intention of plundering him of what little he had, and seeing only the prospect of a good supper, accepted. Gaetano departed with the reply. Franz was prudent, and wished to learn all he possibly could concerning his host. He turned toward the sailor, who, during this dialogue, had sat gravely plucking the partridges, with the air of a man proud of his office, and asked him how these men had landed, as no vessel of any kind was visible.
Never mind that. I know your vessel.
Is it a very beautiful vessel?
I would not wish for better to sail around the world.
Of what burden is she?
Around 100 tons. But she is built to stand any weather. She is what the English call a yacht.
Where was she built?
I do not know. But my own opinion is she's Genoese.
And how did a leader of smugglers venture to build a vessel designed for such a purpose at Genoa?
I did not say that the owner was a smuggler.
No, but Gaetano did, I thought.
Ga- Gaetano had only seen the vessel from a distance. He had not then spoken to anyone.
And if this person be not a smuggler, who is he?
A wealthy signor who travels for his pleasure.
Um, he is still more mysterious, since the two accounts do not agree. What is his name?
If you ask him, he says Sinbad the Sailor. But I doubt if it be his real name.
Sinbad the sailor.
Yes.
And where does he reside?
On the sea.
What country does he come from?
I do not know.
Have you ever seen him?
Sometimes.
What sort of a man is he?
Your Excellency will judge for yourself.
Where will he receive me?
No doubt in the subterranean palace Gaetano told you of.
Have you never had the curiosity, when you have landed and found this island deserted, to seek for this enchanted palace?
Oh, yes. More than once. But always in vain. We examined the grotto all over, but we never could find the slightest trace of any opening. They say that the door is not opened by a key, but a magic word.
Decidedly. This is an Arabian Nights adventure.
His Excellency waits for you, said a voice, which he recognized as that of the sentinel. He was accompanied by 2 of the yacht's crew. Franz drew his handkerchief from his pocket and presented it to the men who had spoken to him. Without uttering a word, they bandaged his eyes with a care that showed their apprehensions of his committing some indiscretion. Afterwards, he was made to promise that he would not make the least attempt to raise a bandage. He promised. Then his 2 guides took his arms, and he went on, guided by them, and preceded by the sentinel. After going about 30 paces, he smelled the appetizing odor of the kid that was roasting, and knew thus that he was passing the bivouac. They then led him on about 50 paces further, evidently advancing toward that part of the shore where they could not allow Gaetano to go, a refusal he could now comprehend. Presently, by a change in the atmosphere, he knew that they were entering a cave. After going on for a few seconds more, he heard a crackling, and it seemed to him as though the atmosphere again changed and became balmy and perfumed. At length his feet touched on a thick and soft carpet, and his guides let go of their hold of him. There was a moment's silence, and then a voice, in excellent French, although with a foreign accent, said,
"Welcome, sir. I beg of you, remove your bandage."
It may be supposed, then, Franz did not wait for a repetition of this permission, but took off the handkerchief and found himself in the presence of a man from 38 to 40 years of age, dressed in a Tunisian costume, that is to say, a red cap with a long blue silk tassel, a vest of black cloth embroidered with cloth, pantaloons of deep red, large and full gaiters of the same color, embroidered with gold like the vest, and yellow slippers. He had a splendid cashmere round his waist, and a small sharp and crooked cangiar was passed through his girdle. Although of the paleness that was almost livid, this man had a remarkably handsome face. His eyes were penetrating and sparkling. His nose, quite straight, and projecting direct from the brow, was of the pure Greek type, while his teeth, as white as pearls, were set off to admiration by the black moustache that encircled them. His pallor was so peculiar that it seemed to pertain to one who had been long entombed, and who was incapable of resuming the healthy glow and hue of life. He was not particularly tall, but extremely well made, and like the men of the South, had small hands and feet. But what astonished Franz, who had treated Gaetano's description as a fable, was the splendor of the apartment in which he found himself. The entire chamber was lined with crimson brocade, worked with flowers of gold. In the recess was a kind of divan, surmounted with a stand of Arabian swords in silvered scabbards, and the handles resplendent with gems. From the ceiling hung a lamp of Venetian glass, of beautiful shape and color, while the feet rested on a Turkey carpet, in which they sunk to the instep. Tapestry hung before the door by which Franz had entered, and also in front of another door leading to a second apartment which seemed to be brilliantly illuminated. The host gave Franz time to recover from his surprise, and, moreover, returned look for look, not even taking his eyes off of him.
"Sir, 1,000 excuses for the precaution taken in your introduction hither. But as during the greater portion of the year this island is deserted, if the secret of this abode were discovered, I should doubtless find on my return my temporary retirement in a state of great disorder, which would be exceedingly annoying. Not for the loss it occasioned me, but because I should not have the certainty I now possess of separating myself and all the rest of mankind at pleasure. Let me now endeavor to make you forget this temporary unpleasantness and offer you what no doubt you did not expect to find here. That is to say, a tolerant supper and pretty comfortable beds.
Ma foi, my dear sir, make no apologies. I have always observed that they bandage people's eyes who penetrate enchanted palaces. For instance, those of Raoul and the Huguenots. And really, I have nothing to complain of, for what I see makes me think of the wonders of the Arabian Nights.
Alas, I may with Lucullus. Lucullus? If I could have anticipated the honor of your visit, I would have prepared for it. But such is my hermitage. It is at your disposal, such as is my supper. It is yours to share, if you will. All is all is the supper
Ali.
ready. Ali, I'm sorry, I didn't see the eye.
At this moment, the tapestry moved aside, and a Nubian, black as ebony, and dressed in a plain white tunic, made a sign to his master that all was prepared in the dining room.
Now, I I do not know if you are of my opinion, but I think nothing is more annoying than to remain 2 or 3 hours together without knowing by name or appellation how to address one another. Pray observe that I too much respect the laws of hospitality to ask your name or title. I only request you give me one by which I may have the pleasure of addressing you. As for myself, I may put you at your ease. I tell you that I am generally called Sinbad the Sailor.
And I will tell you, as I only require his wonderful lamp to make me precisely like Aladdin, that I see no reason why at this moment I should not be called Aladdin. That will keep us from going away from the East, whither I am tempted to think I have been conveyed by some good genius.
Well then, Signor Aladdin, you heard our repast announced. You will now take the trouble to enter the dining room. Your humble servant going first to show the way.
At these words, moving aside the tapestry, Sinbad preceded his guest. France now looked upon another scene of enchantment. The table was splendidly covered, and once convinced of this important point, he cast his eyes around him. The dining room was scarcely less striking than the room he had just left. It was entirely of marble, with antique bas relief of priceless value, and at the four corners of this apartment, which was oblong, were four magnificent statues, having baskets in their hands. These baskets contained four pyramids of the most splendid fruit. There were Sicily pineapples, pomegranates from Malaga, oranges from the Balearic Isles, peaches from France, and dates from Tunis. The supper consisted of a roast pheasant garnished with Corsican blackbirds, a boar's ham with jelly, a quarter of a kid with tartar sauce, a glorious turbot, and a gigantic lobster. Between these large dishes were smaller ones containing various dainties. The dishes were of silver, and the plates of Japanese china. Franz rubbed his eyes in order to assure himself that this was not a dream. Ali alone was present to wait at the table, and acquitted himself so admirably that the guests complimented his host thereupon.
Yes,
Replied he, while he did the honors of the supper with much ease and grace.
yes, he is a poor devil who is much devoted to me and does all he can to prove it. He remembers that I saved his life, and as he has a regard for his head, he feels some gratitude toward me. for having kept it on his shoulders.
Ali approached his master, took his hand, and kissed it.
Would it be impertinent, Signor Sinbad, ask you the particulars of this kindness?
Oh, they are simple enough. It seems the fellow had been caught wandering nearer the harem of the Bay of Tunis than etiquette permits to one of his colour, and he was condemned by the Bey to have his tongue cut out, and his hand and head cut off. The tongue first, the tongue the first day, the hand the second, and the head the third. I always had a desire to have a mute in my service, so learning the day his cut was cut out, I went to the Bey and proposed to give him for Ali a splendid double-barreled gun, which I knew he was very desirous of having. He hesitated a moment. He was so very desirous to complete the poor devil's punishment. But when I added to the gun an English cutlass, with which I had shivered His Highness's Yarahan to pieces, the Bey yielded, and agreed to forgive the hand and head, but on condition that the poor fellow never again set foot in Tunis. This was a useless clause in the bargain, for whenever the coward sees the first glimpse of the shores of Africa, he runs down below, and can only be induced to appear again when we are out of sight of that quarter of the globe.
Franz remained a moment silent and pensive, hardly knowing what to think of the half kindness, half cruelty with which his host related the brief narrative.
And like the celebrated sailor whose name you have assumed,
He said by way of changing this conversation.
you pass your life in traveling.
Yes, I made a vow at a time when I little thought I should ever be to accomplish it. And I made some others also, which I hope I may fulfill in due season.
Although Sinbad pronounced these words with much calmness, his eyes gave forth gleams of extraordinary ferocity.
You have suffered a great deal, sir?
Sinbad started and looked fixedly at him as he replied.
Sorry. What makes you suppose so?
Everything. Your voice, your look, your pallid complexion, even the life you lead.
I I live the happiest life possible, the real life of a pasha. I am king of all creation. I am pleased with one place and stay there. I get tired of it and I leave it, and I am free as a bird to have wings like one. My attendants obey my slightest wish. Sometimes I amuse myself by delivering some bandit or criminal from the bonds of the law. Then I make my then I have my mode of dispensing justice silent and sure, without respite or appeal, which condemns nor pardons, and which no one sees. Ah, if you had tasted my life, you would not desire any other, and would never return to the world unless you had some great project to accomplish there.
Revenge, for instance.
The unknown fixed on the young man one of those looks which penetrate into the depth of the heart and thoughts.
And why revenge?
Because you seem to me like a man who, persecuted by society, has a fearful account to settle with it.
Ah,
Responded Sinbad, laughing with his singular laugh, which displayed his white and sharp teeth.
you have not guessed rightly. Such as you see me, I am a sort of philosopher. And one day perhaps I shall go to Paris to rival Monsieur Appert and the man in the little blue coat.
And will that be the first time you ever took that journey?
Yes, it will. I must. It must seem to you by no means curious, but I assure you that it is not my fault. I have delayed it so long. It will happen one day or the other.
And do you propose to make this journey very shortly?
I do not know. It depends on circumstances, which depend on certain arrangements.
I should like to be there at the time you come, and I will endeavor to repay you, as far as lies in my power, for your liberal hospitality displayed to me at Monte Cristo.
I should avail myself of your offer with pleasure. But unfortunately, if I go there, it will be in all probability incognito.
The supper appeared to have been supplied solely for France, for the unknown scarcely touched one or two dishes of the splendid banquet to which his guest did ample justice. Then Ali brought out the dessert, or rather took the baskets from the hands of the statues and placed them on the table. Between the two baskets he placed a small silver cup with a silver cover. The care with which Ali placed his cup on the table roused Francis' curiosity. He raised the cover and saw a kind of greenish paste, something like preserved angelica, but which was perfectly unknown to him. He replaced the lid, as ignorant of what the cup contained as he was before he had looked at it, and then casting his eyes towards his host, he saw him smile at his disappointment.
You cannot guess what there is in that small vase, can you?
No, I really cannot.
Well, then, that green preserve is nothing less than the ambrosia with which Hebe served the table of Jupiter.
But this ambrosia, no doubt, in passing through mortal hands, has lost its heavenly appellation and assumed a human name. In vulgar phrase, what may you term this composition, for which, to tell the truth, I do not feel any particular desire?
Ah, thus it is at our material origin revealed. We frequently pass so near to happiness without seeing, without regarding it, or if we do see and regard it, let yet without recognizing it. Are you a man for the substantials, and is gold your god? Taste this, and the mines of Peru, Gujarat, and Golconda are open to you. Are you a man of imagination, a poet? Taste this, and the boundaries of possibility disappear. The fields of infinite space open to you. You advance free in heart, free in mind, into the boundless realms of unfettered reverie. Are you ambitious? And do you seek after the greatness of the earth? Taste this, And in an hour, you'll be a king, not a king of petty kingdom hidden in some corner of Europe like France, Spain, or England, but king of the world, king of the universe, king of creation. Without bowing at the feet of Satan, you will be king and master of the kingdoms of earth. Is it not tempting what I offer you? And is it not an easy thing, since it is only to do thus? Look,
At these words he uncovered a small cup, which contained a substance so lauded, took a teaspoonful of the magic sweetmeat, raised it to his lips, and swallowed it slowly with his eyes half shut and his head bent backwards. Franz did not disturb him whilst he absorbed his favorite sweetmeat, but when he had finished, he inquired,
What then is this precious stuff?
did you ever hear of the old man of the mountain who attempted to assassinate Philip August?
Of course I have.
Well, you know he reigned over a rich valley, which was overhung by the mountain whence he derived his picturesque name. In this valley were magnificent gardens, planted by Hassan bel Sabah, and in these gardens isolated pavilions. Into these pavilions he admitted to elect, and there says Marco Polo gave him to eat a certain herb, which transported them to paradise, in the midst of ever-blooming shrubs, ever-ripe fruits, and ever-lovely virgins. What these happy persons took for reality was but a dream, but it was a dream so soft, so voluptuous, so enthralling, that they sold themselves body and soul to him who gave it to them, and obedient to his orders as those of a deity, struck down the designated victim, died in torture without a murmur, believing that the death they underwent was but a quick transition to that life of delights, of which the holy herb, now before you, had given them a slight foretaste.
Then it is hashish. I know that. By name, at least.
That it is precisely, Signor Aladdin. It is hashish, the purest and most unadulterated hashish of Alexandria, the hashish of Abu Ghor, the celebrated maker, the only man, the man to whom there should be built a palace, inscribed with these words, a grateful word to the dealer in happiness.
You know, I have a very great inclination to judge for myself of the truth or exaggeration of your eulogies.
Judge for yourself, Signor Aladdin, judge! But do not confine yourself to one trial. Like everything else, we must habituate the senses to a fresh impression, gentle or violent, sad or joyous. There is a struggle in nature against this divine substance in nature which is not made for joy and clings to pain. Nature subdued must yield in the combat. The dream must succeed to reality. And then the dream reigns supreme. Then the dream becomes life, and life becomes the dream. But what changes occur? It is only by comparing the pains of actual being with the joys of of the assumed existence that you would desire to live no longer, but to dream thus forever. When you return to this mundane sphere from your visionary world, you would seem to leave a Neapolitan spring, a Lapland winter, to quit paradise for earth, heaven for hell. Taste the hashish, guest of mine, taste the hashish.
Fran's only reply was to take a teaspoonful of the marvelous preparation, about as much in quantity as his host had eaten, and lift it to his mouth.
Oh, diable!
He said after having swallowed the divine preserve.
I do not know if the result will be as agreeable as you describe. The thing does not appear to me as palatable as you say.
Because your palate has not yet been attuned to the sublimity of the substances it flavors. Tell me, the first time you tasted oysters, tea, porter, truffles, and sundry other dainties which you now adore, did you like them? Could you comprehend how the Romans stuffed their pheasants with asaf- asafoetida, and the Chinese eat swallows' nests? Eh? No. Well, it is the same with hashish. Only eat for a week, and nothing in the world will seem to you to equal the delicacy of its flavor, and which now appears to you flat and distasteful. Let us now go to the adjoining chamber, which is your apartment, and Ali will bring us coffee and pipes.
They both arose, and while he who called himself Sinbad, and whom we have occasionally named so that we might, like his guest, have some title by which to distinguish him, gave some orders to the servant, Franz entered still another apartment. It was simply yet richly furnished. It was round, and a large divan completely encircled it. Divan, walls, ceiling, floors were all covered with magnificent skins, as soft and downy as the richest carpets. There were heavy-maned lion skins from Atlas, striped tiger skins from Bengal, panther skins from the Cape, spotted beautifully like those that appear to Dante, bear skins from Siberia, fox skins from Norway, and so on. And all these skins were strewn in profusion, one on the other, so that it seemed like walking over the most mossy turf, or reclining on the most luxurious bed. Both laid themselves down on the divan. Books with jasmine tubes and amber mouthpieces were within reach, and all prepared so that there was no need to smoke the same pipe twice. Each of them took one, which Ali lighted, and then retired to prepare the coffee. There was a moment's silence, during which Sinbad gave himself up to thoughts that seemed to occupy him incessantly, even in the midst of his conversation, and Franz abandoned himself to that mute reverie into which we always sink when smoking excellent tobacco, which seems to remove with its fume all the troubles of the mind, and to give the smoker in exchange all the visions of the soul. Ali brought in the coffee.
How do you take it? In the French or Turkish style, strong or weak, sugar or none, cool or boiling? As you please, it is ready in all ways.
I will take it in the Turkish style.
And you are right. It shows you have a tendency for an Oriental life. Ah, those Orientals, they are the only men who know how to live. As for me,
He added, with one of those singular smiles which did not escape the young man,
when I have completed my affairs in Paris, I shall go and die in the East. And should you wish to see me again, You must seek me in Cairo, Baghdad, or Isfahan.
Ma foi, it would be the easiest thing in the world, for I feel eagle's wings springing out at my shoulders, and with those wings I could make a tour of the world in 24 hours.
Ah, yes, the hashish is beginning its works. Well, unfurl your wings and fly into superhuman regions. Fear nothing. There is a watch over you. And if your wings, like those of Icarus, melt before the sun, we are here to ease your fall.
He then said something in Arabic to Ali, who made a sign of obedience and withdrew, but not to any distance. As to Franz, a strange transformation had taken place in him. All the bodily fatigue of the day, all the preoccupation of mind which the events of the evening had brought on, disappeared as they do at the first approach of sleep, when we are still sufficiently conscious to be aware of the coming of slumber. His body seemed to acquire an airy lightness. His perception brightened in a remarkable manner. His senses seemed to redouble their power. The horizon continued to expand, but it was not the gloomy horizon of vague alarms, and which he had seen before he slept, but a blue, transparent, unbounded horizon, with all the blue of the ocean, all the spangles of the sun, all the perfumes of the summer breeze. Then, in the midst of the song of his sailors, songs so clear and sonorous that they would have made a divine harmony had their notes been taken down, he saw the island of Monte Cristo, no longer as a threatening black in the midst of the waves, but as an oasis in the desert. Then, as his boat drew nearer, the songs became louder, for an enchanting and mysterious harmony rose to heaven, as if some Lorelei had decreed to attract the soul thither, or Amphion, the enchanter, intended there to build a city. At length the boat touched the shore, but without effort, without shock, as lips touch lips, and he entered the grotto amidst continued strains of most delicious melody. He descended, or rather seemed to descend several steps, inhaling the fresh and balmy air, like that which may be supposed to reign around the grotto of Seers, formed from such perfumes as set the mind a-dreaming, and such fires as burn the very senses. And he saw again all he had seen before in his sleep, from Sinbad, his singular host, to Ali, the mute attendant. Then all seemed to fade away and become confused before his eyes, like the last shadows of the magic lantern before it is extinguished. And he was again in the chamber of statues, lighted only by one of those pale and antique lamps which watch in the dead of the night over the sleep of pleasure. They were the same statues, rich in form, in attraction and poesy, with eyes of fascination, smiles of love, and bright and flowing hair. There were Phryne, Cleopatra, Messalina, those three celebrated courtesans. Then among them glided like a pure ray, like a Christian angel in the midst of Olympus, one of those chaste figures, those calm shadows, those soft visions, which seemed to veil its virgin brow before these marble wantons. Then the three statues advanced toward him with looks of love, and approached the couch on which he was reposing, their feet hidden in their long white tunics, their throats bare, hair flowing like waves, and assuming attitudes which the gods could not resist, but which the saints withstood, and looks inflexible and ardent like those with which the serpent charms the bird. And then he gave way before looks that held him in a torturing grasp, and delighted his senses as with a voluptuous kiss. It seemed to Franz that he closed his eyes, and in a last look about him saw the vision of modesty completely veiled, and then following a dream of passion like that promised by the prophet to the elect, lips of stone turned to flame, breasts of ice became like heated lava, so that Franz, yielding for the first time to the sway of the drug, love was a sorrow and voluptuousness a torture, as burning mouths would press to his thirsty lips, and he was held in cool serpent-like embraces of the marble goddesses and the enchantment of his marvelous dream. End of chapter.
Yeah.
Well, that was a long story.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, chapter.
Chapter.
So,
Yo.
does the Count of Monte Cristo like Grateful Dead, or is he more of a fish guy?
I don't know.
I was thinking more like Snoop Dogg.
Smoke.
All right. So, interesting chapter.
Anyone notice the lie, by the way?
Who the what?
The lie.
Which one?
Which one?
Sinbad, well, I guess that's fair. Sinbad specifically commented on how Ali had his tongue cut out, and then he promptly offered coffee.
Yeah, I was wondering,
No.
like, who's that? That has to be another
That was
person, though. No?
supposed to be Sinbad. I apologize.
Oh.
I did this way too fast. And I'm like, the unknown? Why wouldn't he just say Sinbad? Silly Alexander Dumas. What a silly guy.
Putting our teal through the ringer with this one.
I don't know. It kind of made sense to me as a
I was wondering,
one more lie of the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, I would rather he be lying about poor Ali than about, if there's gonna be a lie, I hope that it's not Ali was actually suffered through those things, and but
so I mean I take it as our dear friends was partaking of substances which alter the mind, so that's how I saw it.
Yes, he got so high that he thought Ali could talk.
Until Teal pointed it out.
I thought it was part of the characterization that, like, okay, yeah, no, the Count of Monte Cristo was bald-faced lying to people, but he gets away with it.
Oh man, you guys should check out my AI art.
Yeah, I tagged Magpie so that she would see it, but I don't know.
Hold on, I just have to make sure that the content is acceptable to YouTube standards.
For the most part, it looks like it should be. That last one is iffy.
Probably not the last one. Let's see. All right, so this was a very long-winded way of saying, like, there's this stupid kid who's now in the thralls of a man seeking revenge. And oh boy.
How did the story describe that kid again? God, it was in here somewhere, and now I gotta find it again. It was he feared nothing, and blah, 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 blah. Like, bullshit. You are French nobility. Your first instinct is to run away at this.
Well.
Ooh.
That isn't even a French joke. You're just a noble. What are you doing? You think you're brave until anything goes wrong.
The writer is, admittedly French, so he's going to be like, that's fine. Okay, so this is the art that the art that Crusher has shared with us. Monte Cristo. And then we have I see Sinbad and Franz meeting in the cave. And if you want to see the next one where they are partaking of questionable substances and you have to hop aboard the server, you can do so.
It's a dream sequence. It's not real. Just go with that.
I know, yes. Alright, yeah, but I'd rather not. Alright. So whatever Edmond Dantes is doing, he's going about very convolutedly to I don't understand why he would go about do all of this, but I guess that's I've never plotted out revenge, so I'm not in that profession. He is, so I guess I just have to wait and see how the pros do it. what do you guys thought about his persona as Sinbad the Sailor?
I think that voice was kind of hard for me to do, and I don't want to do it again.
I was
Sure.
worried when you first started. I was like, is he gonna be able to keep it up for like all of that talking? But look at you, you did it. Good for you. Yay.
Yeah, that was kind of tough.
Yeah, no, that looks tough. That sounded tough.
And
Well done.
yeah, well done. So Sinbad is basically this. I don't think he's meant to be like coming across as like Turkish or Eastern. He admits that he's like European, but he admires like the all the East things. And then while towards the end he was saying like, yeah, after I'm done with my business in Paris, I mean to retire in the East. How much of this was that Sinbad and how much of it was Edmund under the influence of his hashish?
I mean, I have to assume that Edmund is in control of any scene he's in. So I suspect he's more than tolerant to hashish at this point, or at least the amount he consumed.
Yeah.
Or he rolled a nat 20 in deception.
I hope so, because I don't want him to be like just be spending all that money on drugs. That would be such a waste. So I would be disappointed, honestly. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with revenge, with spending the money on revenge, but on drugs and getting addicted to it, no.
I'll let him have his fun.
Yeah, but if you end up being like tolerant to such a large degree of something, that means you got a problem. I don't want him to have a problem. So, yep. All right. I'm wondering, like, as we were reading, like, how much of this was plotted out. Like, he had sailors, like Franz just hopped aboard some random boat, and these random sailors led him to this random island, right? How much of it was planned, and how did Edmund manage to do it? Because it seemed like it was just a matter of chance, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, there's no chance.
There's no chance this was chance. So we'll see. Basically, the moral of the story is if you're traveling abroad by yourself, be careful. Be careful what you take.
And don't trust random Italian sailors.
Or random people who seem to like just want to bestow upon you these luxuries for no reason whatsoever. There's no such thing as a free lunch, ever, or a free dinner, or free hashish.
Yes. And if a stranger offers you drugs, do all the drugs.
Oh yes. No. I was gonna say no. It was stop it. No.
We were so close. No, just kidding.
Dang it. Has the mischief begun? I think we better go. Hey, Crusher.
Wait, I have more memes.
More memes. We want more memes. Where are they? Oh,
they're in voice chat.
I see them. Hold on a second.
Yes.
Man, this sucks. Sorry, guys. I have this thing with me.
Ouch.
No, not
the Elmo
that.
one gets me.
No, it's not that.
I'll never post memes again after that.
No, hold on a second. It's my browser. I have to switch windows. Okay, so here we go. Dante's and Vengeance. Whether he can use his freedom his freedom and wealth to live a happy, normal life, or if he goes with vengeance. Well, we know what he does. Because living a happy, wealthy, normal life doesn't make for good novels. So yeah. And then who's this? Magpie talking about Sinbad. Is that Sinbad? Is that his name? Yes.
I have to assume he's a bad guy with a name like Sinbad.
Shit. Har har har.
What do you mean sin is bad? So he's good.
Double negative.
What about for people that don't speak English? You know, to them it's just another name. Anyway, you guys, I think the hashish is taking hold of our heads and minds. Honestly, I'm a little tired. So, and I felt like that was our longest chapter.
Yes, that was definitely a long chapter.
So I'm a little tired, but I am excited that you guys were here, and we did get a Saint Ferdinand was mentioned, and this time it was totally the book and not the gang. So,
I mean, the gang had some the gang did have some fun about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. When Ye said it, I actually had to chuckle a bit.
It's not my fault, Magpie. I didn't change it. I just read it.
If anybody's fault it would be Teal, because she has access to she's the only one with access to edit the
It's true.
the
Hey.
word.
Uh-oh. Does this
Teal.
mean Teal's gonna get the ban? The dreaded ban.
No, because it was done in a neutral context. It wasn't like anything. It was just another name out there.
It sure has nothing to do with the find replace we did on the entire book, replacing Fernand with Ferdinand.
Don't you ever do that.
I was only half paying attention.
Don't ever do that. What was that, Teal?
Did we mention that Alexandria also got mentioned this chapter? I mean, this was the most Descendants chapter of them all.
Right? Yeah, Alexandria also did get mentioned.
And they were also both pretending to be characters from a book.
That was silly, but you know what? We already said that Dumas had like this thing for melodramaticness, flair, like everything done with flair. So I was like, okay, you're gonna go that way. Okay, we're gonna go that way.
Yeah, he's definitely a bit of a drama llama.
Yeah, and that final paragraph, I'm like, yo, you should just go and write some fanfic about your favorite or whatever, because the statues came to life and he was having like touching them and they were like so sultry and sexy. I'm like, yo.
Clearly, Alexander Dumas has never actually smoked weed. That's all.
Clearly.
Smoke weed every day.
Stop it, Crusher.
I wonder how hashish differs from, that.
Different. It's a conversation for off the air. Let's see that for now.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
hashish?
Stop it.
I know about that.
Yeah. Well, you guys can talk about it after the live.
We don't want Magpie's channel to get in trouble for that stuff.
Yeah, we're already
Yeah.
we're already talking about it. All right. So, thank you
Join
all.
the Discord.
Yes, go to the Discord and count the number of yes, hop on over on Discord and read with us and talk with us. We'll see you tomorrow for the anime.
And annoy the Magpie.
No, please don't. Please don't. So hop on over on tomorrow. We're gonna be talking about anime. It'll be afternoon, evening, sometime around that. Keep an eye out on the scheduled notifications or whatever. All right, everybody. Thank you to, let's see, who read today? Well, just thank you for everybody who read. We know it was Ye and Patrick and Teal. Let's see. Teal did France d'Épinay. Ye did Gaetano. Patrick did Sinbad. Ali was Ye. Wait, Ali didn't speak. And Sailor was, of course, Patrick. Thanks for joining us. And of course, the Highlander MVP was Teal. Yes. And so we thank you for joining us, gang. Remember, don't accept things from strangers who like want to like invite you for dinner but blindfold you in order to get you to where they're at. That's just suspicious.
A mysterious Arabian stranger? I mean, he has all kinds of good stuff for you. Why are you gonna look a gift horse in the mouth?
No, that's how people
I'll be honest,
die.
if a mysterious Arabian gentleman offered dinner in his secret luxury cave, I would probably accept.
No, that's how you lose body parts, I think. Anybody who lures you.
There's a decent chance of that, but there's also a decent chance that it is an excellent story.
Maybe wake up in a bathtub full of ice.
Yep, probably. All right, you guys.
Don't worry,
stay
I wouldn't
safe
wake
out
up.
there. Shush, yay! Stay safe out there. All that to say, stay safe out there. Love you all. Take care, and we'll see you on Friday, if not tomorrow. Say bye-bye, gang.
See you guys.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye bye.
Sayonara.